Welcome, devoted explorers of the unexplained, to DeVanished Realms. If you're new here, prepare to journey into the dark corners of history, where mysteries linger, and the veil between the known and the terrifyingly unknown often thins. We dissect true crime, unravel chilling mysteries, and recount real-life horrors that defy easy explanation. If that sounds like your kind of nightmare fuel, then take a moment, right now, to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Join our community of truth seekers and ensure you never miss another descent into the macabre. We've got countless untold stories waiting to haunt your waking hours. Today, we delve into a true-life horror story that began with spectacle and ended in a swirling vortex of speculation, fear, and a chilling void. We're talking about the disappearance of Dawn Brancheau, not to the wilderness, but to the jaws of the very creature she loved. The story of what happened to her on that fateful day is a descent into a primal fear, a haunting whisper of what happens when we try to tame the untamable. They called him Tilikum, a 12,000-pound orca, the largest killer whale in captivity. To the millions who visited SeaWorld Orlando, he was a star attraction, a living legend who performed breathtaking feats. But behind the glass, Tilikum carried a dark history, a past filled with trauma and tragedy. And on February 24, 2010, it all came to a horrifying head. The victim was Dawn Brancheau, a woman who had dedicated her life to working with these magnificent marine mammals. She was, by all accounts, one of SeaWorld's most experienced and celebrated trainers, a poster girl for the company, and a woman who truly believed in her work. To understand what happened that day, we have to go back. Tilikum's story is a tragedy from its very beginning. He was captured in 1983 off the coast of Iceland, a 2-year-old calf torn from his family and his home. The trauma of that event would be the first of many. He was then sent to a small, concrete tank at a marine park in Canada, where he was housed with two much older, dominant female orcas. These females, in the confined space, would repeatedly rake Tilikum with their teeth, leaving him with cuts and scars. He was, in essence, bullied and isolated, spending long periods of time in a separate, smaller medical pool for his own protection. This wasn't a natural family pod. It was a prison where the inmates turned on each other. This abuse, experts would later argue, had a profound and irreversible effect on his psyche. It was in this tank, at this marine park in Canada, that Tilikum was involved in his first fatality. On February 20th, 1991, a young part-time trainer named Keltie Byrne slipped and fell into the orca pool. Eyewitnesses said the whales, including Tilikum, didn't seem to attack her right away. Instead, they played with her, as if she were a toy. They blocked her path, dragging her down whenever she tried to surface. Staff members threw her a life ring, but the whales prevented her from reaching it. It was a terrifying, drawn-out ordeal. Keltie Byrne surfaced 3 times before she ultimately drowned. It was several hours before her body could be recovered. The marine park closed soon after. The orcas were sold to SeaWorld, and Tilikum, despite his involvement in a human death, became the star attraction at their Orlando park. Why? Because he was a prolific breeder. His genetic material was a valuable commodity, and his new handlers believed his past was a result of an isolated incident in an inadequate facility. The second death tied to Tilikum came in 1999, almost a decade later. A man named Daniel P. Dukes, a drifter who had snuck into SeaWorld after hours, was found dead the next morning. His body was discovered draped over Tilikum's back, covered in bite marks and bruises. SeaWorld's official stance was that Dukes drowned after suffering hypothermia in the frigid water. The coroner's report, however, painted a different picture, detailing severe mutilation and the whale's likely involvement in the man's death. Still, Tilikum's shows went on. And that brings us to February 24th, 2010. Dawn Brancheau had just finished the Dine with Shamu show, a unique experience where guests could watch trainers interact with the whales while they ate. As part of the end-of-show routine, Dawn was lying on a slide-out, a platform at the edge of the pool, rubbing Tilikum's head. Everything appeared normal. Guests were eating dessert, enjoying the spectacle. Then it happened. Tilikum suddenly grabbed Dawn. The exact moment is debated. Some witnesses claim he took her by the arm. Others, including SeaWorld initially, said it was her ponytail. Regardless of the trigger, in a flash, the 12,000-pound predator pulled her into the water. At first, the crowd thought it was part of the show, but within seconds, the horrifying reality set in. Witnesses described a violent, relentless attack. Tilikum thrashed her underwater again and again, refusing to let go. He dragged her through the water at high speeds, and for a terrifying 45 minutes, trainers and staff scrambled to regain control. They threw nets, they tried to lure him with food, but Tilikum, a creature of immense power and unpredictable rage, was in complete command. He would let go for a moment, only to grab her again. When they finally managed to corral Tilikum and recover her body, the coroner's report was chilling and spoke to the sheer brutality of the attack. Dawn had not only drowned, but had also suffered massive blunt force trauma. Her spinal cord was severed, her ribs were fractured, and her jaw was broken. Parts of her body were mutilated, including her scalp being torn off and her left arm being ripped from her shoulder. It was a vicious, sustained attack that defied the idea of a simple accident. The attack on Brancheau was a global event that changed the industry forever. It sparked a worldwide conversation about the ethics of keeping such massive, intelligent, and social animals in captivity. The documentary, Blackfish, released a few years later, brought Tilikum's tragic history and the details of Dawn's death to an even wider audience. The incident led to federal investigations, and eventually, to the end of trainers performing in the water with orcas at SeaWorld. Tilikum remained in captivity until his death in 2017, but his story, and Dawn's tragic fate, still haunt the waters of SeaWorld's past. They call them killer whales. But maybe the real question is, what happens when the killer isn't the whale, but the cage we put it in? The story of Brancheau and Tilikum is a dark chapter in the annals of human and animal interaction, a true-life horror that continues to captivate and disturb. If you found yourself caught in the chilling grip of this tale, make sure you're subscribed to DeVanished Realms. We publish new true crime, mysteries, and real-life horror stories every week, venturing into the forgotten, the feared, and the profoundly unsettling. Hit that subscribe button, join our community, and prepare for your next journey into the darkness. Until next time, stay safe, and remember, some realms are best left undisturbed.